Hello, everyone. Today we are at Microsoft Israel, and we are having Yuri Diogenes. He's the principal PM manager. He's visiting, and I'm so glad to have him as a guest.
Rina, thank you very much for being on. Great to be back in Israel. Shalom.
Perfect. I'm really very excited about today to see you in person. I had the privilege to be part of your program, and we will also talk about it. So I prepared a few questions, and let's start.
Yeah, let's go.
So Yuri, you have authored several books and have a deep background in cybersecurity. What inspired you to pursue this field initially, and what keeps you motivated today?
So I migrated from the infrastructure, more particular from the networking side of the house. I've been working with IT for 30 years, so giving up my age there. So I started back in the day when it was still MS, DOS 2 or 3, I can remember, but I migrated from the networking. I was very engaged with Cisco networking, and back in 2005 was when I really started investing more in security. I took my CompTIA Security Plus certification back in 2005. And then 2007, I joined the CSS security team at Microsoft to work with ISA server, which is also from Israel, right? Was developed in Haifa. And that's actually is the time that I started to work with Israelis. ISA server 2000, 2006, and then Forefront Threat Management Gateway, which was the replacement for ISA server. And just kept moving on. Since after leaving CSS Security, I went to Windows Security to write about Windows threats and countermeasures, and then private cloud security, Azure Security Center, which is now Defender for Cloud. So I've been working with Azure Security Center since the beginning, back in 2015, when it was still in private preview, and then we released in public preview November 2015 and GA in 2016. Now, for the second question about motivation, to be honest, motivation is something that goes back and forth. You're not going to wake up motivated every day, right? I work with cyber because it's something that I really love doing it. There are great days, there are bad days, but that's life in general. It's more about the discipline and the purpose, right? You should have a purpose that is beyond motivation. And in my case, when it comes to cyber, is to make sure that we do the right thing for our customers to keep their environment secure. And I think working with cyber has a bigger purpose in general. It's not only about our customers, it's about creating a safer environment for everyone, right? So I think that is an important purpose.
Love it. Let's keep the purpose. So cybersecurity is evolving rapidly. What do you believe are the most critical threats organizations face today that are not getting enough attention?
It's interesting because, unfortunately, the main threats are still the most basic ones, right? Because we at Microsoft, we release our defense report every year. And most of the times, at least for the past 3 years in a row, we continue to see the basic stuff, secure hygiene, being the number one issue for organizations. In other words, if you resolve basic secure hygiene, you're probably going to mitigate more than 90% of the major threats. The precise number that we release in our report is 98%. So 98% of the threats can be mitigated by doing basic secure hygiene. But many times companies, they don't do it. They invest a lot on threat detection, which is important. But when we think about secure posture, you really have to go end to end. You have to invest also in proactive protection, proactive measures, because you want to make sure that you are closing the doors before putting the alarm right? And
So
sometimes it feels like people are investing putting the alarm first, but leaving the door open. So that's not very optimal.
true.
Ideally, you should close all the doors. You should do your homework to elevate your secure posture, and then have threat detection and response to ensure that you are using one of the principles of zero trust, which is assume breach. Right? You're always going to assume that the threat actor will be able to get into your environment. You have to detect fast and respond fast. And I think that uh, companies are highly emphasized on empowering the SOC, which again is important, but posture management is imperative. You have to do the proactive work to not really push everything to SOC. Otherwise, you're going to have another problem, which is the number of false positives that SOC has to triage. So you have to balance this, and so I think that that's one of the main challenges. How can I elevate my secure posture, mainly when I have workloads that are distributed across different cloud providers? Because while we want people to have their workloads in Azure, the reality is that a lot of companies they have a multi-cloud type of approach, right? So they
Yeah.
have workloads in AWS, GCP, and sometimes it's very challenged to keep up with the posture management across different workloads if they are not using the right set of tools.
Yeah. Thank you. Let's move to a hot topic of today, which is AI. How do you see the role of AI changing the landscape of cyber defense and cyber threats?
So AI definitely is going to enable us to respond faster, be more predictive, but also we will introduce other challenges. So just like any other technology that is created to do good things, can be used by threat actors to do malicious operations. So we need to make sure that we go through this AI journey with the same mindset that we have in general, which is start secure and keep secure. In other words, when you are planning AI adoption, you need to ensure that you have a series of things already in place. For example, let's say the company is trying to create a Gen AI application, but they are not really looking into security as one of the core priorities. They are just like, oh, we have to develop this Gen AI and we need to embrace AI to expedite new things, to be more agile, whatever the case may be. Okay, if you do not invest in security, now you are training your AI model to use as part of the ground data your own data. How are you going to tell this model that you are dealing with confidential data? Because if you do not have the right set of guardrails, data classification in place, and things like that, AI is going to learn about your data and it may reveal information that is confidential. So you have to have data classification in the first place. You have to have the right guardrails so that you are not enabling AI to do things that are not supposed to do and creating a vulnerable Gen AI application. So when we say start secure is make sure that you have the right set of visibility across your AI workloads, which is also another challenge because if developers, for example, they can adopt different AI models. If you don't have the right set of visibility of which models are available, then you start to have another problem, which is called the shadow AI, right?
Mhm.
Um, uh, this decentralized way of adopting AI across different departments. So, for example, with Defender for Cloud, we do have AI posture management where we identify the different types of models that are in use. We look at potential exposure of those models. We give recommendations on how to improve the posture of your AI workloads. So that's what we say. Start secure, have the right set of visibility, and hardening those workloads. And staying secure is okay. Now that I safely adopt the AI and I have this application running, how can I detect if threat actors are trying to do any type of prompt injection, indirect prompt injection, poisoning my model, right? There are a series of threats, uh, AI threats that I need to be aware of. So Defender for Cloud, for example, also has AI threat detection for those scenarios. So the overall recommendation is always to don't jump straight into the
Mhm.
bandwagon to create Gen A apps without taking consideration security controls. Make sure that you have data classification in place so you don't are not training your model blindly to potentially reveal confidential information, and make sure that you have threat detection in place
Mhm.
for potential attacks against your AI applications.
Thank you. Start secure, stay secure.
Exactly. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So we will move to a topic which is very close to me, women in cyber. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I have the privilege to be part of the program that you are leading. And since I'm also like in the cyber world as a woman leader in the last years, I see it's so important like to upskill myself, and the same for like other women peers. So I wanted to ask you, what are the biggest barriers women face in cybersecurity from your point of view? And how does your program aim to break those barriers?
Yeah, so to talk about the program, I have to step back a little bit to explain why I created the program in the first place, right? So
Sure.
I was hiring in Romania. I had a open position there for a PM, and I started to observe that the vast majority of the candidates that were applying were men. Um, and I was like, okay, why is this happening? And I started really to talk with different women in Microsoft Romania, because there are a lot of women in Microsoft Romania in the IT role in general, support engineers, great support engineers, CSAMs, different roles, but not too many in cyber. So I was trying to understand why they were not applying, why the job position, was it scary to apply, what it was, right? And what I identify is that from the standpoint of feeling empowered to apply, many of them felt that they didn't have the skills. They didn't see themselves belong to that field because they didn't check all the boxes. Although they checked some, but they didn't apply because they felt that this was not something for them. So I think that one of the things that the program has been doing, we are on the second season in Romania and on the first season global, which you are part of,
Yeah.
is making sure that we are empower women to understand that it's okay to get started even if you don't have all the skills, because you do have some that you can leverage, because cybersecurity
100%.
is not only about technical skills. You have soft skills also that you can leverage, and and the other thing is, if you have a growth mindset, you can learn. So don't feel that you don't belong. Feel that if this is something that you are passionate about and you are willing to learn, then go after and apply. Even if you don't have all the qualifications, go through the interview, test yourself, put yourself out there. So this empowerment and encourage, I think, is the number one thing that they didn't have, and now they are all feeling like, okay, now I can give it a try. Now I feel way more capable in believing that I can do it, right? So I think that the program helps with that. But I didn't want a program that only was chit chatting. I want a program that they could learn about something. That's why the program is a 6 months program where we have at least 2 courses, LinkedIn learning courses per month. We have monthly meetings, and we have 2 projects throughout the program. One, which is an individual, uh, and it is very agnostic, right? I
Mhm.
didn't want to start already talking about Microsoft technology. So the first project is around Mighty Attack Framework, talking about IOA, IOCs, things like that, because it helps you to rationalize with the attacker mindset, understanding the cybersecurity kill chain. These are important concepts. So I always try to talk about security as a domain rather than a product,
Mhm.
because it's not a product. So you have to understand the domain first, building that foundational knowledge. And the second project, which is actually, I was in Romania last week to actually participate on the second project, which is a group presentation. Um, and they did really amazing work. It was phenomenal. We had an entire morning meeting for them to present the second project, which is an investigation. and each team player was playing a different role. One was the incident responder, the other one was
Mm.
the DevSecOps. So the dynamics was great, and and it's great. We are expanding the program. You are part of the first WCP Global, which big shout out to Vanessa for starting this initiative globally. She said, "Well, what you're doing is Romania is great. We should expand globally," and we did. We have amazing group of women from different parts of the globe: Israel, UK, Denmark, India, Canada, US, all over the place, right? And I think that this is what it is, because the program is just the beginning. Is really about the community that we are building, where people can help each other and expand the network, because a lot of opportunities comes when you have a bigger network. Network is super important, right? You know someone that knows someone, and then suddenly, oh, there is this position open. Let me apply.
So true. And I must say that it's really working as you described. I am, first of all, very empowered, and I feel like I empower like others around me. And I'm really looking forward to the second part of the assignment and be part of this project. And with that, I want to ask you if you can share with me a success story from the program that you are particularly proud of. Hopefully, like in the next podcast, you will talk about me.
Well, there are many great cases of people that got to a different role because they felt more empowered. But one very interesting one, and I'm a little bit biased of that because I end up hiring that person from the program. So Madalina Joseph, she was part of the WCP V1 in Romania, and she was a support escalation engineering, and she did really well. And coincidentally, it was pure coincidence, because when I started the program, I didn't think that I was going to be opening a second position in Romania, but I ended up opening a second position in Romania. She went through the interview. Not only her, but other people from the program applied. So this time around, I had zero difficulties to find a woman to apply. Not a lot apply, actually. So the ratio completely changed from the past, which I was very pleased with that. And we got really good candidates that went through the whole interview process. And one, Madalena, she got the position. She's in my team for the past 3 months, and she's
Wow, what a
doing,
success story.
yeah, she's doing amazing. She was with me presenting in Bucharest last week at the Microsoft Security Day. So it was her first official presentation as a PM in my team, and she did a tremendous job. So I think that this is a great example, right, of
Amazing.
someone that went from support to PM engineering, that went through the program, felt that she belonged. And as she said, she gave many testimonies about that. She said, I never thought that I would be speaking in public, because I didn't see myself doing this. But because I had to do on the program, I got used to it and I like it. So a lot of people, they learn about things that they like to do when they are part of the program, right? Because they start to sparkling ideas of, oh, I can do this, I can do that, right? So they start to feel that they are able to do those things, and then they go after and do it. That's great.
Amazing. What a success story. As someone with a global footprint in cyber defense, what are you most looking forward to learning or seeing during your visit to Israel?
Uh, well, this I'll be here just one day, but and I've been here many times before, so it's really talking to some of my friends here, but also this movement in these two fronts of AI, Defender for AI services, which is a very new area that we are covering now. So I'm talking a lot with folks from the Defender for AI service, and also the secure exposure management, because those two areas, my team my customer experience engineering is going to own now.
Mm.
So these areas are coming to my team, and we are going to be supporting this and partnering more with engineering. So I'm also here to learn a lot about that. Not learn about that, but more to catch up
Yeah.
on those things. For the past 2 years, I've been handling Defense CSPM.
Hmm.
Since I went to GA, is something that my team handles and has been very successful. Defense CSPM is one of the plans that grows more and more, and really is making a big impact in customers' environment.
Interesting times. So Israel is known as a cybersecurity hub. How do you view its role in shaping the global cybersecurity dialogue?
Well, everything that everything that happens related to cybersecurity, it feels like it comes from here, right?
Mm.
Even if you look historically, as I said, I've been working with security products that are originated from Israel since 2006.
Hmm.
So 19 years, and even before that, if you think go back to Proxy 2.0, which was the origin of ISA server, it already came in from
Yeah.
Israel. So I think that the innovation and the secure mindset of Israeli professionals is impeccable. They do have something different. I'm not sure if it is in the water. I don't know, but it really it really interesting how uh, they drive things with such excellence when it comes to cybersecurity. It's incredible.
Amazing. Thank you. We'll move to the advice part. So, for women just starting out in cybersecurity or underrepresented groups, what advice would you give?
Okay, so I think that the first thing that you have to understand is that the cybersecurity is a very broad term.
Mhm.
There are so many opportunities within this domain of cybersecurity when it comes to jobs. And you have to find something that you are passionate about, because I always like to make sure that people love what they do, because if you
Mm.
don't love what you do and you're going to do the whole day, that's very miserable. So you really need to be passionate about what you do. And I've seen people, for example, that they had a very frustrated migration to cyber because they went to a path that they don't like. For example, some people, they don't like to code, and they went to be DevSecOps engineering, which requires some coding, and they don't like it because this is not what they want. So it doesn't mean that they cannot fit in another area of cyber. For example, network security, or cloud solution architect, cloud security architect, things like that, right? So instant responder. There are so many roles available. What you need to do is to first identify which role really fits your profile. So one exercise that I always tell people to do is go to LinkedIn, search for cybersecurity as a domain
Mhm.
under jobs, and you're gonna see a bunch of jobs with different roles. Read each job description.
Mhm.
Look to the prerequisites. Look to the skills that are mandatory and, in other words, must have, and the other ones that are desirable to have,
Mm.
right? And see which one you believe you identify yourself when it comes to passion, and try to do a self assessment. In other words, look at and say, okay, these are the skills that I already have, so I can leverage. But these are some that I need to build,
Yeah.
and then start to prepare to acquire those skills, right? So first, it's very important to understand what you want to do,
Yeah.
what you like to do, and then find the role that fits your profile. Because a lot of people, they apply randomly, and this is
True.
just not efficient. Just go ahead and, everything that has security on the name, I'm gonna apply it.
Hmm.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You increase your chances of getting at the door to interview if the things that you have on your resume
Mhm.
match with the job description. So don't go so random. Try to make this match.
Perfect. So clearly, you love what you do and you do it with passion. I'm really curious that how you balance a demanding career with research, writing, mentoring. How do you stay grounded and avoid burnout? You're a
Uh,
superman for sure. I feel you never sleep. You do so much. But how to balance that?
Well, I think that the key word is passion. Everyone that as I said, I was in Bucharest last week, and everyone was asking the same question: How you bring up this energy
Hmm.
100% all the time? It's like, well, I crash at night when I get get home. I don't sleep. I crash uh, because I put a lot of myself out there.
Wow. So nice.
But I think that time management is something critical, and a lot of people, they have the perception that they are busy, but they are just not managing their time optimal. And I I have meetings from 6 a.m. Is usually my first meeting at 6 a.m. Many
Wow.
times because most of the my mentees are in Europe. So I do a lot of meetings early in the morning, and I don't mind because I wake up early. I wake up 4:30 a.m. every day to go to the gym and get my
I can see that.
and get my training because it energizes me. If
Perfect.
I skip that training early in the morning, I think that I'm not very productive. So it boosts my energy. Uh, and I think that this is the real thing is managing your time in such a way that you can be more optimal. Because there is a lot of procrastination, I think, and I've been there. I
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
when I was not optimal and I was procrastinating a lot, I still had the perception that I was busy, and I actually was feeling way more tired. So
Wow.
I was working less, having the perception that I was working a lot because I was not able to get things done, right? And I end up in a situation that I was like, what am I doing? I need to change. Um, and funny enough, everything starts changing when I introduce a more rigid approach to work-life balance, including a better nutrition to
Mhm.
stay more alert, sports. So when you have a good nutrition, you have your training. I think that this have a direct impact on your brain to stay
100%.
more sharp, to stay more active. Uh, that's the only way I'm able to do it. And I've been replicating this constantly for the past 11 years.
Wow. Thank you. Great
Thank you.
tips. And last question. What is a book, quote, or idea that has had a lasting impact on your approach to security or leadership? I know your book, and I really enjoy reading your book. Feel free to promote that as well.
Thank you. Well, the building a career in cybersecurity book is definitely one that I'm very pleased with the result because it's been impacting a lot of people's lives, and this is at the end of the day, this is what it's about: is to
True.
make sure that you are positively impacting people. I like to read sports book
Hmm.
because, for example, I read. I'm really bad with books name, but I read the book. I think it's called Relentless
Mhm.
from Michael Jordan's coach.
Mhm.
He had actually Ting Groove, his name. He has two books. One is Relentless, and one in the other one I can remember the name. But he has two books that are really good. That he talks about how Michael Jordan became Michael
Mhm.
Jordan from the discipline perspective, training. So there is a lot of things that you learn from sports. So I like to read those types of books because when you start translating sports into business, I think it's fascinating, and that's
Wow.
why most of the sports coach, they become public speaker for big corporations because they bring that discipline from sports to
Mm.
the business. There's a lot of correlation there. Same thing with Michael Phelps' coach. He has a book about how Michael Phelps became Michael Phelps. So there's a lot of lessons learned there as well. So these are the type of books that I like to because I can apply also to sports. Right, I practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I can bring to my
Wow.
training. So I like to do those correlations. I have my own podcast that is more sports related. It's called Overcome,
Hmm.
where I interview athletes. So, and I learn a lot from them.
Very interesting.
I interview a lot of Olympic athletes, and they share a lot of good insights. So this podcast, I think, is already on episode number 90. I've been driving this podcast for the past 4 years on my spare time, if I have one. So
Wow.
I try to have at least one episode a month that I record over the weekends, but it's fun.
Okay, few homeworks for me to add this book to my to-do list and also like follow your podcast about the sports one. Super interesting, super inspiring. Thank you so much for visiting Microsoft Israel today, and thank you for your time for the podcast. Great insights, great tips. Any last words for our listeners?
Well, thank you for having me. Congratulations for your performance on the
Thank you.
WCP. You're doing great.
Thank you.
Looking forward to see you evolving and progressing. And for everyone listening, the main message is really establish a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you have actionable items that you are executing every week to accomplish that goal. Because a lot of people are good
Beautiful.
a lot of people are good establishing goals, but they don't put actions to make that goal become a reality, and then they get frustrated, right? So you have to have actionable items that you can finish your week and say, "Oh, I was able to accomplish this, and this is driving me closer to that goal." So
Beautifully said. Very inspiring talk. Thank you so much again.
thank you, Rina.